That record holds now that the camel completely
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Grand Prix Podcast. I am Elton, this is Andy.
Hello!
And you're in the UK now, well done.
Yes, I'm in the same country as you are. Huzzah, finally made it. Unfortunately, I brought the weather back with me. Unfortunately, I did not bring the air conditioning back with me.
Ah, yeah. How do you feel now then, eh?
Warm.
Yeah, I'll bet you do.
Warm. Yeah. How are you feeling?
Hot, sticky, but quite relieved I don't have to cut my grass because all my grass is dead.
I was going to say, yeah, it's all dead now.
It is, yes. It is just fields and fields of gold. And yeah, it's just knackered. So
that's one of the things they refer to California as, you know, El Dorado, the Golden Hills. It's just because all the grass is dead.
That's all it is, mate. That's all it is.
Yep. That or on fire, either way.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, I suppose it is, yeah. Anyway, yeah, we're here to talk about the 2018 German Grand Prix. This time.
And we should say, we think this will be a quick one. Snicker, snicker, snicker.
Yeah. Well, yes, I think it will be a quick one because nothing happened around this one.
Nah, nothing at all. It was a bit of a snore fest. You should probably just switch off right now.
Well, while we're here, can I get your initial impressions on this one?
My initial impressions are...
Just very brief.
I'm still trying to decide if this was better than Baku or not.
Really?
It might have been better than Baku, maybe. I enjoyed this a lot.
Okay. Interested.
I assume you did not.
Initial impression... I can't say that word now. What the hell? Initial impressions. Half a race of watching the sky and waiting for the weather to roll in, and then a pretty good race.
I could see that, yeah, definitely. But that when it kicked off, it kicked off.
But this is the analogy for, isn't it, for Rogue One, where everyone goes, "Oh, that film is really, really good." But what you're saying is you left really happy because you saw something really good at the end.
Yes, very much so. That is my long-standing opinion on Rogue One, being that it is a amazing space battle and the single greatest Darth Vader scene in all of Star Wars. The rest of the film is very mediocre.
Exactly.
But I will make the case that there was still some good stuff in the first half, which I'll get to when we get to it.
I think there was some good stuff, but I think it was a lot of, we're just waiting for the umbrellas to go up.
There was a lot of that.
So, kicking around, why not just... anyway, let's get into that later.
Yes.
Do we do news or do we do the email that we got?
I think we should do emails first.
Okay, well, we only have one email, and if you lovely, lovely listeners do enjoy listening to this and want to listen to it in future and email us, you're more than welcome to email us at boxboxbox at grandprixpodcast.com. And we have an email from John Cooper. Cooper. Double O Cooper, isn't it?
Double O Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper. He says, "Hi guys. Quick point about reducing the pit stop personnel. If you have one person per corner and each pit stop takes 40 seconds, every single race is certain to become a one-stop race unless you change tyres or the tyre or the rules. We're living in multi-stop races and this would kill that. Love the podcast and appreciate your thoughts. John, New York."
Interesting point, John.
I think he's right.
Potentially right. I think it would come down more to how the tyres are being used. I don't think it would go down to 40 seconds to stop because from what we've seen in things like WEC and IndyCar and stuff like that, I think they could turn around a car inside of 10 seconds with one person on each corner.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would be that drastic. But it would certainly mean they'd probably be more inclined to want to do one-stops. But quite frankly, they're already inclined to want to do one-stops.
Yeah. But that's the thing. That's what I was going to come back on it. There are a lot of races that we're having at the moment where it is just one stop. I think we got a little lucky today with two stops. Mm-hmm. But I think if they could get away with it, they would just do the one stop. So why not spice up that moment of pit stopness where instead they're stopping for 2 seconds? Why not just elongate that out a little bit? I totally agree and I understand. I think it's not something that we're putting forward to definitely do. I think it's something that should be thought about, and maybe it's a position where the excitement could be enhanced a little bit, and visual aspect as well.
Yeah, I definitely think my point about this is partly a visual aspect. I sent a message to Mark Priestley, who's at F1 Elvis, and he read it out, and he disagreed with me. He's like, no, I like. His case was, if you're coming to Formula One for the first time and you're seeing this inhuman display of speed, in 2 seconds or sub 2 seconds, that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
It is. I'm not coming to Formula One for the first time though. And my case is, once you get to 2 seconds, and you might get a 1.98 second pit stop, or if they really push it, a 1.8 seconds. But visually, you can't tell the difference. As a spectator watching it, it doesn't mean a huge amount to me. And I feel that the spectacle, the entertainment of the race is taken away because it's done so quick and they're out. Literally blink and you miss it.
Yeah.
And while I fully appreciate, understand and acknowledge the technical achievement that's gone on there and the sheer display of manpower and coordination, I doff my cap at all of those guys 100%. But when it comes to entertainment as in watching, I find the WEC pit stops a lot more entertaining, where the car comes in, stops, and then you just have two guys running around. Or in, say, IndyCar, where you have, one person on the jack, the other person on the tyres, and they're kind of working around the car then. There's a little bit more anticipation. It feels like there's more... There's a bit more pressure on the individual members of the pit team in that instance. Whereas with the Formula One stops as it is, unless someone messes up, you don't really notice the individuals. You just see the homogenous mass of people surrounding the car.
Yeah.
I think if you had less people there, you'd be going, come on, do it. And you'd be willing on that individual or that person to do it. And I just think as a viewer, from an entertainment standpoint, that for me is more compelling than this effectively machine that you go, and it's gone.
Yeah.
So my case for the fewer people on the pit stops is partly an entertainment thing. And the second reason is a safety aspect. Well, not so much safety, but also the amount of times now we've seen cars with unsafe releases where they've shot out with, a wheel loose or something like that. And, they get to the end of a pit lane and it's stop, your race is over. And it's like, well, fuck, that whole weekend was for nothing now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And all because they were such a frantic rush to get that, 2.26 second pit stop that the whole race is run now, just pack up and go home. And we've seen instances as well where cars have shot down the pit lane and wheels have gone accelerating down. There was that incident with, was it Mark Webber a couple of years ago? What was the one when it was in the pit lane and then after that they just banned anyone being in the pit lane who didn't have to be there?
I'm sure that was Mark Webber. He lost a wheel and he hit a cameraman, didn't it?
Yeah. And we've seen stuff like that. Sooner or later there's going to be a serious incident in the pit lane with a wheel. And I just think we should just head it off at the pass. We acknowledge that you can do this really quickly. 100%. I gotcha. So impressive. I think it should definitely become a thing where what they do is like a showcase event where they get the pit teams and they have a race to see who can do it in the quickest time. But when it comes to the race, just a few less people there, I think.
I think I agree with the guy that you tweeted or emailed or whatever it was. F1 Elvis, did you say?
Yeah,
it
Mark
was?
Priestley. Yeah, Mark Priestley.
Right. And I get his point of view because it is newbies coming to Formula One. They need to see this. And I totally get that because I know that commentators have been given stick for repeating themselves. I'm sure that people hate us for repeating ourselves. We used to bang on about the halo. And
I'm sure the reasons people hate us are many and varied.
Oh, yeah. But sometimes when the new person comes in, they don't know. And so they need to be told that you need to make a guaranteed pit stop to change onto a prime tyre, because a first time viewer wouldn't know that. But the commentators don't know that, so they're told they must cover that in the race, or try to cover it in a race, once a race, for the new people always coming along. And there are always going to be new people coming along, because it's been going for years and will go for years as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. It'll be a shame to go to a Grand Prix and then not see the sub 2 second stops, but it'll also, times change, don't they?
Well, if you remember back a few years ago, we had fueling stops, and that was integral to the DNA of Formula One up until it wasn't.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And the Lollipop Man was integral to the pit stops until it wasn't.
Oh, then he got replaced by a light bull crap, as far as I'm concerned.
All I'm saying is, I just feel that as a spectator watching it for entertainment, I would like to see the car and to see the people working, not this mass of bodies just falling upon it and getting out. I think as well, it will spice things up when you have safety car, things like that, when you double stack. Because as it currently stands, you can kind of double stack with no penalty.
Yeah.
Quite like it. If you're going to double stack, there's pain.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be able to double stack like that and get both your cars in and out. It's got to be a desperation move, but you've got to do it. And I don't
know. I like the double stack because they are so efficient that they can get him in and out. Oh, see, now I'm caught in a quandary.
Oh no, you're caught in a logic bomb. Yes, I cannot tell a lie, but this statement is lie. But I cannot tell a lie.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, at the end of the day, we know no one is going to listen to us at all, so it doesn't matter.
No.
When we do, I would quite like, either during the summer break or at the end of a season, you and I write our ultimate F1 rulebook.
Definitely.
Like how we like it. And for me, I will certainly be proposing a 6-man pit crew for cars. Front and rear jack, and a person per corner.
Sounds good. Okay, so, well, thank you, John, for sending us that email. If you do want, anyone else wants to send us an email.
Very, very quickly, just while I'm on it as well. When we said it was a person per corner, I think we discussed this. We wouldn't necessarily dictate how they had to operate. So you could have one person with the gun doing both front and back rear wheels, and the other two are manning the wheels.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is you have 2 people on each side of the car. How you want to use those 2 people is fine. So some people might decide to do it one on each wheel corner. Others might do one person is on the gun, the other's on the tyres.
Yeah.
And I think that would be interesting as well, seeing different techniques being used in the pit stop.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like that. That would spice things up. I think after a number of races, though, that might even itself out and people will work out.
Once they figured out what's the quickest way they do it. But for a brief minute or two, we'd have some variety.
Yeah, 2 races.
Yeah.
Be 2 races, and no, we tried it one way. No, that works for us. Thank you very much. And that's it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so yeah, thank you, John. If you want to send us an email for the future, then please send it to boxboxbox@grandprixpodcast.com, and we will inevitably try to read it out. I am not the greatest at reading these sort of things out, as my old Black Dog podcast episodes were attained to. So, you have been warned. You have been warned. And while we're on the subject of warning, why not let's warn other listeners? We do swear. We are idiots. We think we know more than we know. You have been warned. If you make it further than this, then on your head be it.
Yes. Speaking of idiots, we have some news.
Go for it then.
So I have been saying throughout the season that, in my humble opinion, I think Hamilton might do a Rosberg at the end of the season and just retire.
I recall you saying that, yes.
And so Hamilton decided to prove my point of us being idiots and announcing he signed a 2-year deal with Mercedes.
It doesn't mean anything though, mate. Honestly.
That's my point. It still doesn't mean anything. I'm still sticking to it. I think if he wins the championship, he'll still quit. I'm standing by it. I'm nailing my colours to the mast here. I'm going down on my ship.
So what's he got? A 2-year contract, yeah?
He signed for 2 years with Mercedes just this week past. And Bottas has also signed, but I think Bottas has only signed for 1 year.
Yeah, with an option of an extension.
Yeah, who's the option with, though? I'm guessing the option's with Mercedes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's it. But I don't think that means anything because I'm pretty sure Rosberg was still under contract when he retired. And you can't compel these guys to race if they don't want to. If they turn around tomorrow and say, I don't want to race anymore, I mean, you can fine them and you could probably, recoup money, but you can't force them to sit in your car.
There'll be something in the contract to say. I think after Rosberg left, I think Mercedes will be stupid not to put a clause in there saying, okay, right, we sign you for 2 years. If you want to leave, then you null and void the next year's contract.
Yeah, something like that. Or there will be something in there. There's going to be some sort of termination clause in there, absolutely.
Uh-huh.
But I definitely maintain that if Hamilton wins the championship this year, I'd still put money on him walking away at the end of it.
Now, the 2-year contract just extends up until when Mercedes are committed to Formula One. So there is a possibility in 2020 that Mercedes could pull out. No, 2021, sorry, that Mercedes could pull out. And Lewis Hamilton could pull out with them as well. At that point, it's possible that Lewis Hamilton would have won his 7th world title, equaling Michael Schumacher. Do you think that's what he's eyeing up? Or if he doesn't win this one, then maybe, well, he might retire after this year if he doesn't win it?
I don't think so. The reason I don't think so is because this year Vettel's run him so close. And I'm not saying that he's scared of Vettel or anything like that. But I think this year has been a lot of a much tighter battle than he was expecting.
Yeah.
And I just think he's bored at the end of the day. His attention seems to keep wandering to activities outside of Formula One. And this is purely just, as we've already established, a pair of idiots looking in from the outside, seeing, his social media stuff and just his general demeanor and attitude. Even when he wins, he doesn't seem as ecstatic as he used to be. And when it doesn't go right for him, he seems even more dejected than he used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, for my money, I still think if he wins the championship at the end of the year, I tell you what, he wins. Let's just take a hyperbole. He wins in, say, Mexico.
Yep.
David Coulthard runs over and shoves the microphone in his mouth in Parc Fermé. And the first things out are, I retire!
Okay.
Take that, Rosberg.
I love your optimism that you're going to stick with this. I can't see him signing for another 2 years and then before that contract is even started, quitting. I can see him doing it a year into it. Now that he's signed it, I can't see him doing it at the end of this year.
But that's why I reckon you see, okay, because I've stolen your tinfoil hat, so I'm sticking with this.
Oh, I can hear that. Yeah,
it's a tinfoil. But because it's not the runaway success he was expecting. If he was expecting to be 80 points clear at this point, I don't think he'd have signed yet.
Right.
I think they'd keep pushing it and kicking it down the road because I think he wants to retire as the champion. So now it's a little bit, maybe it's not a done deal. So if he doesn't become the champion this year, well, then next year he's got to do it because he doesn't want to walk away. He wants to walk away from a position of power, position of strength. So he gets number 5. Yabu sucks to you, Vettel. I'm out. If he doesn't do it for when Vettel does it, next year he comes back, he fights for the 5th, matches Vettel or whatever. Then he can say, Yabu sucks to you. I'm out.
Right. Interesting.
Again, I'm going to full Elton on this. I've gone the full Elton.
Okay. Well, also on contracts, Kimi staying at Ferrari, do you reckon?
Well, this was another bit of news. Have you heard of a rumour of who he might be off to?
I've heard Sauber and I've heard McLaren, but I think people are banding them around because he's been to them already.
It does seem to be that Kimi can only go to places he's already been. Is it like if he doesn't know where the factory is, he just get lost? Maybe that's for logic.
Maybe he's got like a precedent for this. Maybe he's been to shopping centres like Tesco's and he's like, no, I don't want to go to Asda. I want to go to Tesco's. They do the ice creams.
If you want me to go to Tesco, you have to tell me.
We said we wouldn't do accents.
Sorry. You started it.
I know I did.
Yeah, I don't know. While on the one hand, I kind of like the synchronicity of going back to Sauber where he started his career, and while I can see the logic in, they effectively become the Ferrari B team even more so than the Haas was, I think Kimi would just say, you know what, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't think he minds, tootling around in a Ferrari. It's a fast enough car. He can get wins maybe if, Vettel will let him, or whatever the deal is. They're well stocked with magnums, and they have very deep pockets. So I don't think he minds doing that, but I don't think he's going to want to go to Sauber.
Well, there's talk because Sergio, what's his name? Sergio
Sirotkin?
No, Mascheroni, I think you pronounce his name. He's like chief executive of Fiat.
Marchioni.
Marchioni, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
He's been taken ill. He's had surgery recently and has had to step down from his position. And another guy...
he has left now.
Yeah.
He is no longer the CEO of Ferrari.
And, there's a new guy stepping in, and the rumour is that this new guy stepping in doesn't want to upset anything, doesn't want to rock the boat. The boat is working at Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
And so why would you want to rock that in your first act, within your first week of being the CEO, and scupper everything that you've just created?
Yeah.
Which I get, I understand, and so I think Kimi might still be there next year.
Quite possibly. I don't know. I think it will depend. This is going to be kind of telling us how much autonomy does Arriva Bene have within the team itself, from the board effectively.
Yeah.
Because Maschioni has been forced to stand down. He had shoulder surgery, and due to complications from that, he's been forced to stand down early. He was already going to stand down at the end of the year, I believe.
Right.
So he's gone down early, and this guy called Mike Manley, who was the head of Jeep, is the new CEO, I think, for the time being. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. I mean, he's a Jeep company. I would say I don't quite see, how familiar he's going to be, but then again, I didn't really know how. I mean, because Maschioni was used to be with Philip Morris, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
So he was kind of like connected from the advertising side of it. I don't know how much input or how familiar he is. So he might just give Arriva Bene a bit of free, a free hand to do what he thinks is best.
Yeah.
And in that instance, see, I guess it kind of comes down to what the contract deal is with Leclerc and Sauber.
Yeah.
Because if he's tied down and if no one can poach him, they'll probably let him sit there another season just to mature a little bit more. The Sauber's coming along, is coming up great gusto. So we might see, everyone just kind of holding position where things currently are. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if they decided to put Leclerc in the Ferrari. But if they did that, I don't think you'll see Kimi in Formula One next year. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised, but I think Look, this is just my personal opinion. I think Kimi will still be there. I think that Ferrari would go for what they know instead of trying to fit someone new into there. Now, Charles Leclerc might get in there and run Vettel for his money. And Vettel's not going to really like that, is he? He's already had that once before at Red Bull, hasn't he? So he's quite content with Kimi.
I will say this about Vettel, though.
Yeah.
Drivers do mature. Think back to Alonso in 07 to Alonso today.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that if you put... I think Vettel is probably a different... I think when he was at Red Bull, he was the chosen of Helmut Marko. He was, he could do no wrong. The team was there to service him. At Ferrari, you are there to service Ferrari. And you might be the number one driver, but no one is more important than the team. And I think that not last season, but the season before, when he was effectively getting made to sit on a naughty step every other race, might have given a little bit of humility there. So devil's advocating a little bit. I'm not dismissing. I'm not saying Vettel couldn't deal with having a faster teammate and would result in toys being thrown out of the pram.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, cool. Any other news that we got?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Let's see. Well, we've touched on the Mascioni stuff. We've done the Kimi and the Sauber stuff. Williams think they figured out what's wrong with their car. I can tell you what's wrong with your car right now. It's shit.
Yep.
So that's that.
The amount of high-vis stuff that they were painting on that car.
That flow-vis paint.
Totally different colour.
It was, wasn't it? And the worst thing for Williams is they're going to lose Martini at the end of the year. And I can't see anyone lining up to bloody sponsor them just now.
Not at the moment, no.
Nope. So that's that. Not so much Formula 1 news, but I don't know if you saw this going on in Formula 2. Or was it Formula 3? One of the Haas development drivers, Ferrucci, was given a ban for deliberately colliding with a teammate on a warm-down lap.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Did you see it at all?
I did see it, yeah. It certainly sounded a lot more dramatic. I was thinking like Days of Thunder sort of thing, comes hurtling out of the pits and spears the car.
Like Cole Trickle.
Yeah, Cole Trickle. But no, it was more of a little love tap.
Yeah, it was, but it ruined his car.
Oh yeah.
It caused probably a couple of £1,000 worth of damage. And I don't think that was the only incident. There was another incident of him holding a mobile phone, driving it around the circuit.
Yeah. Driving, holding a mobile phone. I mean, Jesus.
He took his gloves
Christ.
off. Well, now we know that an iPhone can't operate with racing gloves on. I suppose, we can forgive him for that.
Well, again, Formula 1 is all about proving these new technologies. So now we know.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
Knowing is half a battle.
And I suppose, I'm glad that he's not using Android. Oh dear, we've just lost all the Android listeners.
Oh, they just dropped out.
Sorry about that. But yeah, what a fruitcake. Yeah. Okay, Mark Webber drove around Brazil with his helmet off because it was his last race.
Yeah.
Now, you don't do this at the start of your career. You do this sort of thing at the end of your career.
Yeah, once you're kind of established and, people kind of know what you're able to do, then you can start pulling this sort of shit.
Yeah.
But, I'll tell you right here and now, unless he goes on to win the championship by a massive amount, and seeing where he currently is in the standings, that ain't the case. His career is over before it even began. So well done, you.
Certainly
well
is.
done. I think two other bits of news that are probably just worth mentioning. Kubica has confirmed he was signed for Ferrari in 2012.
Oh, man.
Before he had his rather unfortunate accident, which is that's a huge shame.
Okay, so he was signed for what, for that next up and coming season, or what?
Well, the accident was in 2011, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
So it would have been the 2012 season.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm guessing that would have put him alongside Alonso,
and Massa would have been out.
Yeah.
Sure, it was Massa.
I think it was Massa, yeah. Because I don't think Kimi was. You know what? I'm going to check.
Yeah, go on, Google it just in case. To Google.
To the internet of places. God bless you. So 2011 was Alonso Massa. Yep.
He would have been replacing Massa then, yeah?
He would have been replacing Massa, yeah, because Kubica had his accident at the beginning. It was before that 2011 season.
That's bonkers, man.
Mm-hmm.
How things just change as well.
There, but for the grace of God and all that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of the great what ifs.
Oh, definitely. He would have won more than... I'm not going to turn around and be that idiot that turns around and says, oh, yeah, he's definitely going to be a future world champion. But he definitely would have won races.
Mm. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was gutting that he... BMW Sauber won that one race and then decided, okay, we're going to stop development now and just focus on next year.
Yeah.
And then pulled out. It's just like, that was a dick move.
Yeah, that was.
Anyway, the last bit of news, and who can say if this will become the great what if of our time or not. Rumour has it Stroll might be off to Force India.
In replace of who? Ocon?
Don't know. I would have thought so. So Ocon comes from Mercedes.
Yep.
Perez comes with money. But if Stroll is going to Force India, he would be coming with money.
Yeah.
So I would have thought Perez might be the one more likely to go.
Oh, do you reckon Perez could go back to...
What, McLaren?
He's got the money.
McLaren does now feel like the kind of the unpopular kid at sports day who no one wants to pick.
It does, but they're going to start really needing money soon, aren't they?
Oh, God, yeah.
I wouldn't even say soon. I'd say now.
Oh, yes. They need all the help they can get, definitely.
Okay. I suppose we better do this at the mid-season break, though, about drivers moving to certain places.
We'll do a silly season special, eh?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Because at the moment, nothing's really screwed down apart from Lewis and Bottas.
Vettel's locked in.
Yep.
And Verstappen's locked in.
Yeah.
I didn't report it as news, but everyone's reporting Ricciardo's going to sign up with Red Bull again, probably just for 1 year, sometime this week.
Mm-hmm.
1 year makes sense to me, I think. Let's just see where the Red Bull sits, sees what movements you get. Maybe he's heard news about Hamilton thinking of jumping ship, huh?
Well, okay. Yeah, it feels like we're doing the silly season now, but yeah, you could have him doing one season. That way he could see how the Honda goes, and Bottas has only got the one season guaranteed as well.
Yeah.
So they have the option. They could drop him. He could go back to Williams, I suppose.
I think he deserves better than that.
I think he does as well. I thought he was quite good at Williams. But, anyway.
Okay, that, I believe, is all the news, except for all the stuff that I missed.
Okay, good stuff. Oh, yeah, and Vettel had a new helmet design, I suppose.
Did he? I didn't notice.
Did you? Oh, did you not see it? Yeah. Okay. On the side of the helmet, like an RAF, a Spitfire would have the target thing.
A roundel.
I couldn't think of the word of it. Thank you very much. Yes. He had like the German flag on either side of his helmet and a new design over the top. It's basically the same helmet, the white design with the flag incorporated onto it, but just additions and kind of moved around a little bit.
Okay.
So I think it is classed as a new design, but it's
So I could be forgiven for not instantly recognising it as a new helmet, though.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. yeah. I don't think I don't mind it. I thought it was quite nice, but yeah, I still prefer the RAF version.
I think it's the one-off, though, just for the German Grand Prix.
Oh, it might be, yeah. It may well be. Anyway, talking about the German Grand Prix, that's what we're here to talk about. So I'm going to fly through free practice 1 and the qualifying because I don't think there was much to talk about. So
well, I didn't see any of it, so I'll take your word for that.
Oh, good man. Okay, well, FP1, we had Giovinazzi sitting in for Ocon, I think it was. No, it wasn't. He was in the Sauber. So I think he was sitting in for Ericsson. Anyway, he was driving around in his Sauber and he lost part of his engine cover, thus exposing the Ferrari power unit to the world. And lots of people descended on that pit box and started taking photos and everything like that. And Hulkenberg took a trip across the gravel, which he nearly buried it into the tyre wall, but he got away with it. FP2, nothing happened, and FP3 was rain sodden. So I think everyone went out, but maybe just for 1 lap or 2 laps, and there was nothing really to talk about there.
You saw your favourite full wet tyres then, didn't you?
They just haven't got any purchase at all. It's not even, oh wow, look at that car power sliding. It just looks like 20 nervous cars trundling around. I just don't think they're up for it. I don't think they're good enough. But yeah, that's just me, I think. Anyway, so into qualifying 1, and we're off to quite a shocker already because I think most people had set a lap up until the point where Hamilton found himself stuck in 4th gear. And he stopped. He tried to push his car back to the pits, but I think he was at turn 10 when this happened. So he had quite a way to go. He couldn't get around and push it that far. There was just no way he was going to do that. I'm still not too sure what happened, whether he went over a curb the lap before, damaged the hydraulics, which then made his power steering fail, and then all the hydraulic system fail, thus sticking him in 4th. Or he went over something, or it actually failed and then forced him wide over a bump, which
Mercedes said
worse.
It failed before the incident. So the flying over the curbs was the result of the hydraulic failure, not the cause of it.
But the lap before, he'd done the same. Or not exactly the same.
But I think if it was starting to go,
yeah,
he probably, I don't know, it spun him out a bit wider, and it might have aggravated it, but the problem was already there to begin with.
Yeah.
Apparently they said the problem was in the car when he left the pits.
Right.
So I also think that probably explains why he was, if he'd have fucked up himself, I don't think he'd have been trying to push the car back.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, it was quite a surprise to see him stopping that. So he had a time good enough to get through Q1 into Q2, but he didn't post a time in Q2 whatsoever. So,
no.
Well, at the end of Q1, we lost Van Dorn, Stroll, Hartley, Gasly, and Ocon. But then we already knew that we would be losing Lewis Hamilton, and Daniel Ricciardo had already. I think he went out just to post a time to say that he could get under the 107% rule, and he got through Q1 and then didn't set a time in Q2.
Well, what's the point? You got a 20-place grid penalty.
He was starting at the back anyway, wasn't he?
Yeah. I still hate these fucking grid penalties.
Yeah, they're here to stay though, mate. At the moment, anyway. And
don't have to like them, though.
No, that's true. That's true. In Q2, we had Ericsson spin in the stadium, in the Sachs curve, I think it's called. And on his return to the track, he dropped a shitload of stones onto the track, which eventually brought out the red flag, but it did ruin a few drivers' laps. There was a point where they were going to carry on, and it was an and an ahhing. You know, like when you're going out for a restaurant, okay, what restaurant should we go to? And you'll sit there going, well, dunno. And this is what I thought that the actual control room was doing, because there were stones all over this track, and it seemed as if they were going to carry on, get to the end of the session, and then sweep it up. And I think Verstappen went out, and he was going out on soft tyres to try and shake it up a little bit during the race. And halfway through his lap, they called out the red flag, which scuppered that, and then he had to go through on the ultra softs. But yeah, it kind of ruined a couple of people's laps. Definitely Verstappen's though. And in that session, we lost Ricciardo, Hamilton, Ericsson, Sorokin, and Alonso. And in Q3, Vettel set a solid time in his first run. It was beaten by Bottas, to the surprise of Toto Wolff, actually, because he did a very big, oh my word, how did he do that?
I say, if he'd been having a monocle, it would have fallen out.
It would have. Definitely. And I think that joy lasted for maybe 15, 16 seconds, where Vettel came round and put his car on pole position. So
yeah,
Sebastian ended up on pole. Bottas was second. Kimi Raikkonen was third. Max Verstappen fourth. Kevin Magnussen fifth. Roman Grosjean sixth. Nico Hulkenberg seventh. Carlos Sainz eighth. Charles Leclerc ninth. And Sergio Perez was 10th. So there's your grid.
Yep, just a couple of penalties worth mentioning. Danny Rick, 20-place penalty for exceeding his quota of power unit elements.
Oh dear.
And Pierre Gasly has a 30-place grid penalty for exceeding his quota of power unit elements.
Right.
So there you go. As ever, though, it makes no rhyme or reason over who starts where and when. I guess, yeah, so Gasly started 20th, Ricciardo started 19th. So
that's right, yeah. So the race. Okay, I know we've got your initial impressions on it.
Yes.
And we've got my initial impressions on it. So why do they vary so differently?
Well, because you like the Monaco Grand Prix and therefore are wrong in all these things.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always forget about that. Yes.
Yeah, it's funny that. I mean, for me, what I enjoyed, at least in the first half of a race, is partly I do enjoy watching cars who can carve through the field. I think it's not what we used to have back when cars could follow, but it gives us a taste of that. And so when you have Lewis Hamilton fired up in a works Mercedes carving through the field, I like that. That's entertaining, seeing them go through that. It was actually a bit of a shock we didn't see Danny Rick, get through a bit quicker, but I enjoyed that aspect. The second thing I thought was very interesting is, apart from the top five, the rest of the field remained very closely bunched up throughout. Before we go any further, though, there was something I wanted to ask you. What do you think of the Hockenheim ring, especially compared to what it used to be? Do you prefer it now, or do you miss the old sections up through the forest?
I miss the old sections.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand why they've changed it. Doesn't mean we have to like it.
That's true.
I wish they kept it, but then again, there was no stadiums out there, were there? And
I wish they'd have kept a bit of it. I agree, it used to be maybe a bit much, but maybe if you could have just gone a little bit into the forest and then back. Because it's those iconic bits when you'd have Schumacher and Häkkinen racing wheel to wheel going up through the forest section. That was good. I missed that.
From a German Grand Prix perspective, though, it was such a long circuit. I'm pretty sure it was. It was only in the 40s that you'd have 44 laps. I think it was in the 1990s.
Uh-huh.
And so, if all your all the people that are watching the race are in the stadium section because there was no real seating further up.
Yeah.
Then you're not getting the people aren't getting the choice of going around the circuit and choosing different spots. It's too far to walk, and there's no real places to look. And so they disappear. You'll see the cars 44 times, and that's not enough visual stimuli to pay the entry fee.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Okay.
I suppose a bit like Belgium, but I think from that, I get the feeling you're allowed to walk around the circuit a lot more than you were around this place.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because if you're going into the forest, then, okay, there's just trees.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Man, they should have. That would have been more entertaining.
It would have been, yeah. Oh, wild bear attack.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
anyway.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's not one of my favourite circuits. I think there's a couple of corners they could do without, I suppose. I don't mind the long turn 5 that they have. I think that's quite good, and that's always going to end up in a chicane or hairpin at the very top. But then you come off of that, and then you turn into another section where you got a nice big stadium. Maybe they could have just flattened that and had a bit of the old track there. Oh, I don't know. What about yourself?
I'm torn. I fully understand the reasons why they had to shorten it, but I miss it. I feel that before it was something unique, whereas now it's just a Tilke track to a certain extent. It's kind of built on the bones of the old track. I used to like the technical challenge as well, where you'd have cars failing because, you're at full throttle for so much of it.
Yeah.
This is probably the kind of circuit where today's cars would have been okay because you have those long straights. So we'd probably see some really good overtaking, especially, I can't remember what turn it would have been, but at the top of a forested section before they come back around and down.
Oh, Oscurve, was it? Or I can't remember where it was now.
It was the old... Yeah, the Ostkurve, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Up around there. I think you could add some good stuff there. And also coming back down when you got to the centre chicane. I reckon today's cars would have really run well at this circuit. That's more of a damning indictment of today's cars than anything else.
You'd have had at least 4 DRS sections as well.
Oh, yeah.
It would have... There'd be more DRS than non-DRS.
Probably. But I just feel that would have been a really good challenge for the cars. And, given they have to make these engines run for so and so long, they'd have to balance the whole between... This is definitely one of the races where they'd have just put in a brand new engine.
Yep.
They'd have saved up one of the allocations and were plonking it in for here. And I just miss those iconic shots going through the trees. Every time you saw it, you just knew instantly it's the Hungaroring. It's a bit like, Hockenheimring. It's a bit like when you have Spa and you're coming up the hill, you instantly know that's Spa.
Yep.
Whenever you see down a pit straight with a heat haze, you know that's Silverstone. There's those iconic shots, Whenever you see a truly train of cars because they can't pass, you know that's Monaco. and I just miss that aspect for the Hockenheimring. And now when you see shots, it's just another circuit. It's just lost that character to it. Yeah. So that's a bit of a shame.
No, I get where you're coming from. I think I agree with you, definitely. Anyway, so this race then.
Yes.
So I thought it was a bit of a wet squib up until the rain came.
Well, we had lots of, like you said, engineers watching for the rain. And the commentators, everyone's just kind of waiting for this rain to come. And I love how the engineers were giving really accurate predictions of when the rain would arrive, and none of them were agreeing with each other.
3 minutes, 8 minutes, 6 minutes.
Yeah, I just love that. no one really knew for certain. I mean, even when they started off, Kimi came over the radio and said, "There's some rain on my visor," and we knew it was coming, but it's just when would it arrive? When? And I think that anticipation, I liked that a little bit because it was, Lewis is trying to run long on these tyres and he's trying to run as long as he can because he doesn't want to pit until the rain gets here. Mm-hmm. But then you get that situation where, okay, do I pit now for some ultras and possibly have to change again, or will I be okay just running on these ultras when the rain does arrive? There was a bit more strategy involved there, which I thought was really interesting. A very interesting call with Kimi, bringing him in to swap over to the softs when he did. And just, can he run to the end on those? Turns out, probably could have done. He didn't have to because there was a safety car later on, but that was, I like when you have different tyre strategies being played out, and you can see that. I used to be able to say Formula One was a 200-mile-an-hour game of chess.
Yeah.
It's not anymore because they're all doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. But
you occasionally get instances like this where different strategies are being played out, and that's always interesting to me, and that kept me entertained. Just keeping track. Further down the field, because I think from Kevin Magnussen back down to the end were almost within 5 seconds of each other for almost the entire race. That was great. I mean, at one point, the graphic just said battle for 12th, and it was just like all the cars were in there. And that was just cool seeing that.
Yeah. Okay. What do I say about this? I really enjoy. I like the battles of chess where you're waiting for someone to do something, but everyone is waiting for this weather. And I thought Hamilton did really, really well in cutting through it. By the way, he nipped every excuse in the bud before the race by turning around and saying, well, it's one of them tracks where you can't pass. Look, I'm going to say it again. They say about this every track, every single track where you can't really pass. It's one of the more difficult ones. Stop saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, right, null and void. Every track is really hard to pass. There we go. Thank you very much. You don't have to say that sentence ever again.
It's not the tracks that's the problem. It's the cars.
It's the cars.
Yeah.
But I thought he'd done superbly well. The reason why, what's his name? Daniel Ricciardo didn't do as well is because he was on different tyres. He was on the medium tyres, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was on the mediums.
And so I think he had trouble switching them on to actually get some good laps in. Once he got them in, but it took a fair few laps for him to get in, then I thought he did all right. But watching Hamilton come through, it was kind of inevitable that he'd get up to at least 5th, maybe 4th, and he'd be up with them. He might be a pit stop behind, but then that's when the strategy comes into play, and that's when all the cunningness comes into play as well.
Yeah.
And that's what I was enjoying. But watching 19 other cars, apart from Lewis Hamilton, go round looking at the sky and nursing everything until the rain comes is not fun for me. I don't like the nursing aspect of Formula One anyway at the moment, but it's there, and so we have to deal with it. And I liked in the early 2000s where you had the Michelins where you kind of nursed them, and then all of a sudden you had to nurse them because they fell off a cliff and you couldn't do diddly squat about it. You didn't know when it was coming, and it was sometimes hilarious watching a car just skating around to try and get some new boots on. But you don't get that nowadays. And so this chess game that you're saying, I didn't feel like it was that. It was more of a waiting game. And do you remember the old qualifying where they were given 12 laps worth of fuel and they'd always set the fastest lap or their fastest pole position lap on the last lap because it was 12 laps of just burning fuel?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I felt this was. It was just cars going around burning fuel. There was no real dicing. There was a little bit, I suppose. There was some pretty good passes, and Hülkenberg gained 2 places on Ocon and Perez when they bumped into each other. And the pit stops when it seemed like there was an overcut instead of an undercut as well, because I liked when Kimi pitted, and then when Vettel pitted, Vettel was way behind Kimi. And that's when I got really excited about certain things happening. I thought, well, okay, it's going to get really spicy now. It was good.
No, it wasn't. I'm never going to let them race. Although, huge props to Kimi for making them say it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I love that. None of this... Kimi knows full well what's going on, but he's not playing this whole game. It's like... I'm not going to do the accent, but...
I'll do the accent if you want.
Oh, okay, but he basically says... If you want me to let him pass, just say it.
Yeah.
And then they say, you have to protect Vettel needs to protect his tyres. You have to protect your tyres. You're on different strategies. And Kimi's just like, if you want me to let him pass, just say. So I love that.
So what are you saying? Well, Kimi, the other guy, he's a bit quicker than you and his tyres are going and you're on different strategies.
I believe what he's saying is Alonso is faster than you.
Yeah, that's the only message you need to give to anyone nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You see, if they were nursing, it didn't feel like they were nursing. Because there's some tracks where they're blatantly nursing. I didn't really feel that. I felt that when Kimi came into pit, and then he starts pumping in fastest lap after fastest lap after fastest lap, pulling Lewis along with him. I thought that was great. We had the bit when Ricciardo had to stop, which we'll get onto in a second. But then, it's we're going to have a safety car. No, because Ricciardo, being a gentleman such as he is, he pulled up right next to an exit road.
Yeah.
But you had this, then you're starting to see the blistering occurring on the tyres. And, they want to run these tyres as long as they can do because they know odds are it's going to rain at some point. They want to leave their options open as much as possible.
That's what I don't understand. They're waiting for the rain.
But I like that because normally if there's no rain, they'd race for 30 laps, pit, race to the end. But here we're like, if I can get another 3 laps out of these tyres and it starts raining, then I get a free pit stop. They're pushing the tyres a little bit further than they normally would have done.
Yeah.
They're like hell they'd have stuck out on tyres as blistered as that under other circumstances. But because of the possibility of rain, they were sticking out with these less than optimal tyres for that little bit longer. And we were seeing lockups. We were seeing people going wide. We were seeing people getting a little bit shifty on the brakes coming into these things because they were just pushing their luck that little bit extra until finally we go, okay, now we're compromising ourselves so much. We're just going to have to live with the decision we make. And that's why, for once, Mercedes actually got the call right. They made the call that when the rain arrived, it would be so light or so localized, most of the circuit would still be dry. So if you go on the new Ultras at that point and you keep heating them, even at the wet parts, the rest of the circuit, you'll be seconds a lap faster at that point. And fair play. I would say this was more a case of Mercedes won the race than Lewis won it because they finally managed to call the strategy right. They figured out the best tyre to be on at the best time to be on it.
Yeah.
Which was great. I felt that Vettel had a very, very mature race, to use that word. It's silly to say that to someone who's been racing in the sport for bloody near on to 12 years now, I'm guessing, however long it's been. Seems like it. But, he got out in front. He was doing what he had to do. The bit where he spun off, no blame on him whatsoever. It's just, I don't even think he was pushing, to be perfectly honest. But we saw so many cars when you were getting that bit of rain in turn 6, I think it was, where we're just getting a little bit skirty. We saw one of the Force Indias spun around and light up his tyres and just throw a ton of shit all over the circuit.
He did, yes.
It was just like, yeah, fuck all of you. Just romp.
Well, I'm fucked, so you're all fucked as well.
Yeah, exactly. I'm taking you all down with me.
Yeah.
But I liked that. You had the roll of the dice with Verstappen for reasons God only knows why, thinking the Intus was the right tyre to be on, and then realising maybe that wasn't the right tyre to be on.
Okay.
My favourite one. What? Okay.
I feel like we're going to be talking about wet weathers and Inters right now. So go on. No, your favourite one was what? Sorry.
Oh, my favourite decision, which I would love to know what the reasoning behind this was, sticking Gasly on a full wet.
I loved that. Okay.
Now, to be fair, as we saw half an hour later, that might have been an ideal call. 30 minutes later. Unfortunately, the race had finished by that point.
Yeah, that's fine if you're driving home in your Formula One car.
Yeah.
But there was, at no point did I think, now this is from, all my racing experience I have.
Of course. How is the 1993 Formula One game going, by the way?
Oh, it's brilliant, man. I love that thing. I really do. Anyway, from my experience, looking at the track, at no point was in Inter's lap. There was no Inter's lap whatsoever. So I was quite surprised to see Alonso go on Inter's. I was quite surprised to see Charles Leclerc go on Inter's as well. I'm forgetting who else went on. Oh, it was Verstappen. But I could see why, because the rain was hitting hard at turn 6. And I suppose they were thinking that it was going to blow over the whole track. But at no point, you're always supposed to be on the best tyres and the right tyres for the optimum conditions. And at no point was Inter's even a decision for me. So to see them gambling with it, I think you should race your race, and then when the rain hits, change then. Instead of all of this poodling around, waiting for the rain to come because, we don't want to change just yet. I suppose this is when the refueling would work, because then you'd have heavy cars going around waiting for the rain to come. That would work, or you could separate your stints a little bit more. But this was just poodling around waiting for the rain to come, and everyone was, instead of racing, everyone was waiting. And that wasn't fun for me. I know I've said in the past where I quite like the chess match of, who's going to change first. I quite like that. But this time it was as if I could see everyone's eyes in the visors looking up on every single corner. And it just wasn't fun. They're not racing. If you had Kimi come in and instead of putting the mediums on, the softs on, he put the ultra softs on and went for it again, he could have made up so much time, blew everyone's doors off, and then when the rain come in, and then maybe Inters, or maybe another set of super softs, or the ultra softs, or the softs. And they were all looking at the wrong thing, I feel. And that's why I got frustrated with the first half of the race.
Okay. The case for the prosecution. I would say, as far as things like swapping over the tyres, I 100% understand why they did it. Because if it had then proceeded to rain over the rest of the circuit, they'd have just bloody stormed to the front of the field. Mm-hmm. They had nothing really to lose, did they? I think Leclerc at that point was maybe 11th. He might have been low on the points, but nothing to lose at all there. And Verstappen effectively had a free pit stop. He had 2 free pit stops because such was the gap between him and Magnussen. The most he was going to lose was 4th place to 5th. So it's the whole thing. If you make a call like that and you're right, you are a hero. You make a call like that and you're wrong, you're a 0. It's just the nature of the sport. In this instance, it was the wrong call. I reckon it would have probably made more sense to wait an extra lap to just see what was going. But again, if it happened really quickly and it suddenly just downpoured, and we saw the rain that arrived after the race. Now, if they'd had spotters out there, and we know they all have the spotters, telling them that was the rain that was coming, and then it starts raining, they probably thought that was just about to hit the circuit.
That's true, yeah.
So it's just like, shit, get these tyres on now. In that sense, that even makes sense why Gasly went onto the full wet.
Yes.
Because if they were expecting a monsoon to suddenly hit the circuit... Okay, so let's play this out differently. Rain starts in turn 6. Gasly goes in from wherever he is, 15, puts on the full wets. Everyone's laughing. But the next lap, that monsoon hits. And all of a sudden, Gasly's leading the race. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem so stupid now, does it?
Of course not. No, that is
now,
genius.
As it turns out, that didn't happen. And we're all laughing, going, ha 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 ha, you idiot. But that's the nature of Formula One. You call it right, you're a hero. You call it wrong, you're an idiot. Mm-hmm. I don't mind that. And none of these guys had anything to lose. I mean, if one of the top four had done it and they'd been in the wrong call, well, then you have a lot to lose. But we criticise these guys for being too conservative and not being punchy and trying things. I'm not going to overly mock them when they get it wrong. Maybe a little bit. And I don't even mind the constant waiting for the rain because they knew it was going to drop. They knew it was going to arrive, and it was just a question of when and how bad would it be. And I think that fed into all the decision making in the rest of the race. Yeah. That's why they were sticking out a little bit extra time on those tyres past when they were ideal. That's why they were, maybe not necessarily wanting to push tyres or go as fast as they could do. They were trying to eke them out, but they were eking them out past their prime. And at that point, it's just like, well, shit, I can either, go off the circuit now, or we can do a tyre swap and just see where we land. I liked that. For me, that was entertaining. So for me, the promise of rain and knowing it was going to rain was fine. I'll say this. I'm glad we didn't get the level of rain that we saw after the race hit it, because I'll almost guarantee they'd have red flagged the race, or at least started throwing it behind a safety car.
I think they would have, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like that. I think the amount of rain we got was kind of a perfect amount. It was localized, just a couple of bits of a circuit. It wasn't so tough that no car could do it without a spin, but it was just enough to make them clench a little bit and think twice. And a bit when you had Bottas take Raikkonen, and then they're both trying to get through traffic and they're really twitchy. I love that. Mm-hmm. That was great, because it was just one corner, or maybe like two corners, and after that they were fine. And it's just like, it was almost like rallycross. You know what rallycross is, yeah? Yeah. So people who don't know what rallycross is, I'll just explain it. It's where you have a circuit where part of it is on tarmac and part of it is on loose dirt and gravel. So you have to be kind of good at driving on both. And where we had those wet sections in turn 6 and later on, I think turns 1 and 2, that was like rallycross, and I really liked that. That was a lot of fun. So no, for me, I found this a thoroughly entertaining race. I was sitting there going, yeah, this was good. This was good. I was happy. Even the, this comes back to, I mean, it's a widely known and well-reported fact, but you and I have slightly different opinions when it comes to Monaco. Mm-hmm. And my issues with Monaco largely stem from the inability to pass there at all. Whereas here, you could pass. They complained about it, but, people were passing. I mean, we had a pass. Was it a pass for the lead? No, it wasn't. But we had a pass for second place, at least. Yeah. On the track. I'm always down for that. There was several, instances where people were passing. Different tyre strategies being thrown around. I think the safety car was just at the right time, where it wasn't so close to the end, but it was just, it just wiped out the entire race beforehand. But it wasn't so early in that, it didn't really have, like 10 laps before the end was kind of perfect. It was like the perfect place to have it.
Yeah.
Tighten everything up.
Yeah. Safety car worked again. Thus, I think that once, I'm saying it again, but I don't care, get rid of the VSC. The VSC was brought in for this condition. It's because it happened in these types of conditions as well. And they just ignored it. They went with the full safety car, which I prefer. Now, can we talk about the lead up to the safety car?
You mean Herr Vettel on his little trip? I felt really bad for him. I really did.
I was a bit gutted, but I think it's the best thing for the championship.
Oh, it spiced things up no end, which was great.
The reason why I say that is I think now the Ferrari is the car to beat.
Yeah.
It is definitely the car to beat. And having a Ferrari behind a Mercedes, behind Lewis Hamilton, who is able to fend off people and battle on the track, I think that can only bode well for tight racing in the future. Mm-hmm. I really, really want to see Hamilton and Vettel going hammer and tong. We hardly ever see it, though. That's the problem. We hardly ever see. It's always there's always a car in between them, or one of them's spun, or one of them's been punted off, or one of them's just decked it somewhere. It's not we're going to every race and Vettel and Hamilton are nose to tail every single race. It doesn't happen, and it's a bit disappointing. So I'm hoping this might spice that up a little bit. But the way, because he was behind Kimi, as I said earlier on, he'd pitted and Kimi had edged out a lead in front of him, and we got that radio message to let him through. And he was on the phone again a couple of times, wasn't he? Just moaning about, well, I think you should let me through. You really should let me through.
That was a little irritating, but yeah. I forgive it all because of Kimi's response. That was worth. It was entertaining.
Oh yeah, that was the punchline that gave everyone a smile. I feel.
Yeah.
But the way that Vettel went off it was so lame. The way that he lost it. He wasn't.
It was anticlimactic, wasn't it?
Well, he just understeered, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't towing it around the corner. He was just you could hear him dropping down the gears, using the whole of the engine and the motor to slow his whole car down, and hardly ever touching the brakes on that series of corners. And yet it just carried on. He lost the back ever so slightly, and he just went off into the gravel. And that was it. He broke his nose, and I did like his reaction of just shaking his head around, though.
It reminds me there's a GIF from Star Trek of Data just smashing the console in frustration.
Yeah.
And when he was smacking the steering wheel, it felt like that. But then you heard the audio, and you can hear how choked up he is, and on the verge of tears. I just felt bad for the guy. I really did.
Yeah, I did a little bit.
I don't like. It feels very unfair to him because a little mistake like that, and he's off, and it's over. That's racing, that's just the way it happens. And it's spiced up the championship something beautifully. Everything's closed up again. The pendulum swung the other way. We'll just see where it goes from there. But I do think Ferrari now have the car to beat.
Anywhere else around the circuit, though, he made that mistake and he was on tarmac and he was continuing. It was only around that section where there's heavy gravel traps that he got caught out. Because we saw early on around turn 6, 8 and 10 that it's just tarmac, isn't it? And so you can make that mistake. Look at Perez or Ocon, whoever spun and dropped a load of mud on the circuit.
We saw that bit as well with Alonso, I think. Was it final corner? Just going miles off.
Yeah, onto the drag strip, yeah. But, yeah, it just... I feel sorry for him, but then again, do I? I think it set up a good championship.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose I am a little bit gutted because I did want him to win, because I kind of want the Ferrari to win the championship, because it's been 10 years now and it kind of comes in that sort of circle. Yeah. And we're a little bit fed up with Mercedes winning absolutely everything. But yeah, a silly mistake. I don't know. Is he going to recover from this? Is this a turning point in the season for him? Is this bollocks? I can't do it now.
I have to say, I feel that Vettel's appears to be the stronger contender to me, in so much as has it more together.
Yeah.
I think Hamilton is just a little bit more fragile. I think if this had been a bad weekend for Hamilton, he could have spiraled.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Vettel will instantly bounce back.
Okay. Yeah. What about Hamilton's drive, though? Do you think it was because as the British press do, they laud it up when the British do really well, even when they are a bit irritating. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but just a bit irritating for me. But they were saying that he's never won from 6th or lower. He was 14th, starting 14th on this race.
Oh, you know how much I love those sort of stats.
Yeah.
No one who's ever not raced with 2 shoes on has ever won a Formula 1 Grand Prix.
Well, it's true though, isn't it? Yeah, I like stats until they become ridiculous. And we've seen...
No one without opposable thumbs has ever won a Formula 1 race.
We've seen... All the races that we've seen between me and you, we've seen cars win from the front, win from the back, win from the middle, start at the front, go to the back, and then still win. We've seen all of that. And yet this didn't... I suppose the safety car helped out a lot, but then again, by the time the safety car had come out, Bottas had gone in the pits and Kimi had gone in the pits, and so it left Hamilton in the lead. I was a bit gutted that they brought Kimi in, though. I thought he could have made it towards the end on them tyres. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Maybe, but again, once you had the safety car, it was kind of a moot point, I suppose, in that respect.
Yeah.
I think Hamilton did a very good drive. I don't think the win was on the cards until the safety car, but he'd done everything he had to do up until that point to get into that position.
Yeah.
So fair play to him. I don't think he did anything wrong all weekend. You know, the breakdown, I'm giving benefit of the doubt. There was a problem with the car that caused those offs. That was why he wasn't able to proceed. And then in the race proper, he carved through the field as quick as you like. I mean, he got from 14th to 5th in, I think, the first 5 laps. And then closed down. I think Ferrari pitted Raikkonen to head him off. But all that really did was ended up towing him along.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, you know, and I think Kimi's always going to do his own thing. You know, you tell Kimi to let someone... I think we saw this with Bottas as well. I think the Finns are just generally not ones for bullshit. You tell the Finn that you want to let the other driver through, okay, fine. You tell the Finn you don't want him to race, okay, fine. There's no arguing, there's no drama. It's just, okay.
Yeah.
And it's not a submissive thing, it's a pragmatic thing. It's like, look, we'll have this discussion later on if we have to have this discussion, but for now, fine.
Yeah.
We'll do what's best for the team and we'll move on. I think we saw that back in the day with Mika Häkkinen as well. So, in that respect, I feel that Kimi was probably supposed to hold up or frustrate Hamilton, and instead he's just like, nope, I'm off. And Hamilton's just like, I'm coming with you.
Yeah, that's right.
And just towed him up effectively.
Because Bottas got the phone call as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Bottas was after the safety car, Bottas got very punchy. And Mercedes basically said, we don't want you to fight. I understand why that was the case. I think that was not a case of protecting Hamilton. I think that was a case of protecting the 1-2 and the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah.
I think if this situation was reversed, they'd have told Lewis the same. I guarantee he'd have bitched and moaned about it a lot more, though. But he'd still done what he's told.
I like to think that if Bottas had got the jump on Hamilton and got him at that hairpin and got through, I think Mercedes would have turned around and said, right, okay, hold station now. That was your battle. Yeah. That's it. We might give you one more lap, but then that's it. But it was clearly, it's a Mercedes track. You got 1-2 Mercedes. They just want that 1-2.
Yeah, especially at the home race, and especially when they've been behind, and now they're in a position where they could take the championship lead.
Yeah.
And it's first time in a while I think they've had it, because I think Ferrari's been leading the championship since Austria.
Okay.
So yeah, a couple of races they've been behind on that.
Yeah. What about as the safety car was out? Because there was 2 instances. First, we had Carlos Sainz. He overtook as the safety car came out, and he got penalised for that. And we also had Lewis Hamilton going into the pits and then cutting across the grass.
Yeah.
Because the race was in the balance, wasn't it?
He's been reprimanded for that and given a fine, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like there was a bit of confusion because Bottas pitted, and I don't think they were expecting because we didn't have any tyres ready for him. So they kind of all, were trying to get the thing. I don't know if they were planning on double stacking or if it was a case of Hamilton's decided, I'm just going to stick with what I've got.
Right.
But yeah, they decided to reprimand him. What was the specific rule?
I forget what the specific rule is, but there's this. Okay, this bugs me ever so slightly. Maybe it's because I'm still hung up on that Kimi Baku thing that he got reprimanded or he got a stupid penalty for a couple of years ago. But Hamilton, from my perspective, Hamilton has entered the pit lane. As soon as you go across that line with that little bollard on the left-hand side, you're in the pit lane. And then he's scooted across the grass to get out of the pit lane. He's behind the safety car. I think the natural and safe thing would have been to enter the pits, go through, not pick up any tyres, and just go out. I think that would have been a better thing for him to do instead of cutting across the grass like that, because that's either you can do it or you can't do it. And Kimi, a couple of years ago, got penalised for trying to tow someone, not enter the pits. He was trying to tow someone in Baku to get down to the first corner. And yet, because he crossed the line, he got penalised for that. Now, that's not...
I get that, but if you listen to it... No, I get that, but I'm because devil's advocating here again. And I hate doing that because the devil doesn't need an advocate. He is the devil. But we heard the radio message. That was confusing as fuck, just listening to it.
It was, yes.
It was box, 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 box. No. And it's just like, oh, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, to me, I mean, for all I knew, if someone came on the radio that emphatically no, for all I know, there's a massive fire suddenly gone off in the pit lane or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not actually don't bother pitting. That's just abort.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, he decided he had to just get out of that. At that point, he was at the pit lane entry. I mean, the stewards have basically come back. The team have been open with them. The stewards, in their decision, have said the driver and the team candidly admitted there was a mistake and a breakdown in communication during the safety car period. There was no danger to any other competitor. A change in direction was executed in the safe way, taking all of this into account, including previous examples and blah, blah, blah. They've given him a reprimand. It's his first reprimand of the season, so that's kind of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be a fine or what. It's going to be a point, so if he does it again, something will happen in that respect. But fair play. I imagine the uproar, if they had decided to penalise him to take away the win, would have been such that we'd be having a conversation about how much we hate when stewards fuck up the race after the race, effectively.
Oh, agreed. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's a manoeuvre to remove a win from someone's copybook. Definitely not.
No.
But I think there needs to be, if you've entered the pits, you've entered the pits. And Hamilton clearly entered the pits. He veered off and entered the pits. Whereas, I know I keep going back to it, but Kimi and Baku, he wasn't entering the pits. He was towing someone who else was going in the pits, and he didn't know that they were going to go into the pits. So why does he get penalised for that, and then Hamilton doesn't? It just, once again, we go back to the consistency thing.
Yes, the consistency is out of custard, but unfortunately, until they decide to just have a fixed panel of stewards. And I think they might do that. I think it might just be the driver steward changes between races.
Yeah.
But they take a lot of other stuff into account. As I've said before, and on our the Grand Prix Podcast Formula One rules, I will insist that the race director comes over the radio and issues penalties such as this. So I'd have had...
Once again, that would have sounded so good.
Exactly. I'd have had Charlie Whiting come over the radio to tell them if it was a penalty. But, it is what it is. It didn't bother me that much. Just given where it was. If anything, it was more entertaining just from that radio message that we had with the whole, abort.
Yeah, you are right, though. There could be a big fire, and that does sound like a man panicking.
Yeah, it did. It almost sounded like and I've not heard it since the race, but it almost sounded like there was a crossed wire going on there, like we were hearing two radio conversations at the same time. So I don't know if there was something going on there, but it is what it is. Yeah. I think only a couple of other things I think are worth touching upon, unless there's much more you wish to talk about.
No, go for it.
Well, let's just talk about perennial underachievers, Williams and Arrows. Williams seem to have taken a step forward, McLaren a step backwards. Would you say?
I would absolutely agree with that.
Don't know what happened to Van Dorn. It just seemed to just be nowhere all weekend. And Alonso just seemed to have no interest in racing whatsoever.
No.
Just wasn't as punchy as he usually is. The fight just wasn't there. I don't know if he's finally just been worn down, or if it's just counting down the days until the Silverstone WEC race. Perhaps he can go and win a race.
It wouldn't surprise me. I think there was a report of Fernando Alonso turning around and saying that Van Dorn's car has less downforce than his, and so it's sluggish. So I don't know where I forget where I read that, but that surprises me. Why aren't the cars exactly the same? Is Fernando getting preference on new parts?
It might be, but it was Alonso kind of leading the charge, asking why is there a disparity here?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do feel though that if Alonso has checked out, and it seems pretty apparent he has, be upfront about it at least, and tell the team that I'm out at the end of this.
Yeah.
Because there's only 20 cars on the grid, and we don't want drivers just making up the numbers for the sake of it, especially not Alonso. I think, look, mate, no one is doubting you're one of the all-time greats. I think win the WEC championship, go to IndyCar next year, win all the championships, win the Indy 500, and then give a massive bird to all the doubters, whoever doubted you.
Yeah.
And, be content being, the great. All of a sudden he's going to take on MotoGP, and Alonso wins at that,
Yeah, exactly. He could easily just wake up every morning and go, I am Fernando Alonso.
Oh, wait, is he Mr. Ben now? Who am I going to race today? That's the thing. He's got the creepy guy with the costumes there, and it's just different race outfits and helmets. And
oh, that Taylor was fucking magic.
It was, but that's the thing now, isn't it? Is that's in your mind now?
Did he wear a fez? I get a feeling that he wore a fez.
He did. He did wear a fez because, as we know, fezes are cool.
Okay.
But yeah, there you go. Headcanon now. Alonso is Mr. Ben.
Oh, I can just see it now. Mr. Ben walking in and then all of a sudden slowly morphing into a man with a helmet on and white overalls. Oh, you imagine, right? Okay, Mr. Ben morphs in and all of a sudden he morphs. I want to be a Formula One racing driver. And he morphs and he's like, looks in the mirror and goes, you fucker, you put me in a McLaren.
Yeah, we'll see. Williams seemed to be doing better, but it's a qualified term. I mean, we still had Sirotkin retiring due to an engine problem under the safety car. I think it was.
I think both were under the safety car.
It was, yeah. I mean, so they both ended up retiring due to engine issues. So, yeah. Oh, Alonso retired as well. Didn't realise that.
Well, yeah, retired in quotation marks, I think.
Retired / couldn't be asked.
Yeah.
Either way. Toro Rosso, I mean, Hartley managed to get a point, so, doubled his point haul.
That's right.
Gasly ended up 14th after the brief foray bringing the wets. I mean, you hear this was the first time, I think, ever you had all 6 compounds on a racetrack at the same time.
Oh man, that's brilliant.
Yeah, we had ultras, we had softs, we had mediums, we had inters, and we had wets. So all 5 compounds were in play at one point of his race. If that doesn't tell you that no one knows what the fuck's going on, I don't know what will.
That's just like a PlayStation forum, really, isn't it?
It is a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that is. Oh, you're in a really good car. Yeah, I'll tell you what. You put on the wets and see how good you do.
Still a question on the whole reliability of the Honda. I feel, given that Gasly had a 30 place penalty for engine parts there. I mean, obviously, so did Renault, and potentially Ricciardo's got another one next time out. But they're still not there with reliability, are Honda?
No, they're not there. Renault and Red Bull are doing something wrong as well, aren't they? Because sticking the new engine in, taking all them grid penalties for this race, hoping that maybe a couple of races, at least until the summer break, would be all right. But now, it sounds like he's going to have to take another grid penalty again at Hungary. It
might be. As Martin Brundle pointed out, though, there was no smoke or anything pouring out of the thing, so it might be an electrical or a hydraulic issue. So it might be safe. We'll see.
Yeah. Cool. Leclerc had a nice 360 spin. Did you see that?
Oh, that was amazing. That was a full-on Crazy Ivan, that was.
That was really good, man. That was superb.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got up on the he got up on the curbs on coming out of turn 1, didn't he? And kind of just bottomed out. I seem to remember Villeneuve doing like a 720 spin there as well at some point in the BAR years and years back. But this was just a pure 360, drop the clutch and carry on your way. So yeah, nice car control anyway. And I think that's around about it really, isn't it?
For the most part, Haas were going okay, and they just kind of really locked out with the pit stops. So they both end up finishing outside. Oh no, Grosjean finished 6th, I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Bangton was running 5th at one point, but I think he had problems in the pit stop as well. We had the Force Indias almost tripping over each other again, just like old times. That was fun.
Yeah, it's always good to see them.
I quite like when Hulkenberg went by. I was just like, oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's like he didn't expect it. I suppose he didn't either. So, yeah. One thing I'd like to say before I run down the top 10.
Yes.
Trophies were atrocious.
Didn't pay much attention given all the rain we were getting.
Okay. No, I really didn't like the trophies.
It doesn't matter. All trophies from here on out will pale in significance next to the one they had for the French Grand Prix.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, the King Kong thing.
Yep.
Wow. Yes. Yeah. Totally forgot about that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, the top 10 as it stands, Lewis Hamilton finished, and it has been confirmed that he keeps his win. So he won the race. Bottas was 2nd. Kimi Räikkönen was 3rd. Max Verstappen was 4th. Nico Hulkenberg was 5th. Romain Grosjean was 6th. Sergio Perez was 7th. Esteban Ocon was 8th. Marcus Ericsson was 9th, picking up 2 points. Well done, that man. And Brendan Hartley was 10th. So there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to do constructors and I'll do drivers?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll give you the constructors. You have in at 5 now is Force India with 59 points. They're actually tied with Haas, also on 59 points. Then you have Renault with 80. There's a bit of a gap. 2 Red Bull with 211 points. Then Ferrari with 302. And Mercedes have retaken the lead with 310.
Good stuff. And there's been a change in the drivers' standings as well. Daniel Ricciardo is down to 5th position with 106 points. Valtteri Bottas has gone up one into 4th position with 122 points. Kimi Räikkönen staying in 3rd with 131 points. Sebastian Vettel down 1 to 2 with 171 points, and Lewis Hamilton has retaken the lead of the drivers' stand-ins with 188 points.
Interesting side note, Max Verstappen is now 1 point behind Danny Ricciardo.
Ah, okay. I haven't got the full list in front of me. I think Sergio Sorokin's still the only person not to score a point, though.
Yes, he is. He continues to be the only person with a... I want to say pointless, but I feel like I have to say that for Grosjean from now on.
Yeah,
he is still the one less yet to score.
Well, let's get into the second half of the season, and maybe Grosjean would be pointless in the second half of the season.
Well, maybe.
Okay, right. I'm going to go into our predictions from last race for this race. I have to ask, do you remember what you put down?
I think Hamilton?
Okay. Anyway, so the pole position, you went with Hamilton, I went with Vettel, and so I get 1 point for that because I got it right. In your face. But then you retort, whatever it is. For the race, you turned around and said Hamilton for the win. I said Kimi Räikkönen, so I get no points.
Don't, but at least you didn't say Vettel, because then I would have really been ha-haing you.
I got closer, that's good. And
it's
Kimi
true.
was Kimi leading? Yes, he was leading at one point, yes. Yes, he was. Yeah, there was
Briefly.
Look, briefly is more than me. So
yes.
It works out.
Yeah.
In our third column, we turned around and said about Hülkenberg, where would he finish?
Oh, I was right, yeah. There you go.
Where did he finish? He finished 7th.
Yeah, quite respectable.
That is very good. You actually turned around and said he'd finish 6th.
Damn it.
So no points for you, sir.
Who was 6?
Romain Grosjean.
Damn you, Grosjean!
And and I said he'd finish 8th.
No.
Yeah, so he finished right bang in the middle of where we said he... So we were on the money.
We were. It's just,
Goddamn Vettel. Hang on. I think I'm looking at the wrong one. No, he finished 5th. He finished 5th.
He finished 5th?
Yeah, so I was looking at qualified.
Okay.
Yeah, he finished 5th, so, neither of us get any points anyway.
Fine.
So
fair enough.
You were closer.
Yeah, but that counts for nothing here.
This is true. So, that's another 1 point each on our stand-ins. Hang on, let me add it to
Nothing's changed.
No, nothing has changed. I think I'm still ahead by 1 point at the moment. So, there we go. So, what do we have next?
Next, we're off to Hungary for the Hungaroring.
Good stuff.
So, you want some stats? I got you.
Yes,
I got your
please.
stats right here, buddy.
If you don't mind.
So last time out, pole position was Sebastian Vettel. And the race was Vettel from Kimi from Bottas. With you're never going to guess who had the fastest lap.
I reckon Alonso. I reckon he bolted some tyres on.
You were correct.
Oh,
it was
okay.
Alonso.
There you go.
A 1:20.1. So there you go.
I guarantee he bolted them on like 2 or 3 laps from the end.
Oh, 100%. As far as just overall stats go, the most wins is Lewis, who's won 07, 09, 2012, 2013, and 2016. Then Michael Schumacher. Senna won here 3 times, and then Vettel's won twice, and he's the only one still racing who won twice. Constructor wins, McLaren with 11, 7 for Williams and Ferrari, and 2 for Red Bull and Mercedes.
Cool. Okay. So, with all that being said, who do you think will get pole position? You still go first because you're still behind it.
I'm still. What you see? I do think that the hour has shifted over to Ferrari now. You see, I think they have the car to beat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to steal your boy. I'm going to say Vettel.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm stealing your boy. I'm going for the point. I'm saying Vettel.
Oh, you disgust me.
I do, yeah.
You disgust me.
No loyalty here.
No, shame on you. That is filth.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel a bit dirty now.
You love it, though.
Oh, okay. Well, oh, man.
Can you bring yourself to say it, Bo? Can you?
Yes, let the hate flow through you.
God damn it, man. I think Kimi had a really good race this time out.
He did. Yeah, really good race, and he was second last time out, yeah.
Yeah.
Last time at the Hungarian.
He's been on the podium for the last 4 races.
Except for one particular step.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
But will next time be his chance? But we're not doing that yet, we're doing qualifying.
I know. Qualifying is... Okay, Hamilton then. Okay, there we go. Okay, right. I'm going to go with Hamilton. I'd love to say Kimi, but I don't think so. Go on. What about the race? Who do you think is going to win the race?
I'm going for the point because I need to draw it. Need to try and draw level and ideally pass you before the mid-season break. It's all to play for because whoever goes in the mid-season break ahead has got that psychological edge, haven't they?
I hate you.
So I'm going with Vettel.
You're a dick, honestly, man.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
All's fair in love and Formula One, mate.
Oh, it certainly is. And it's funny that we're not even thinking about the Red Bulls now.
Yeah, they're kind of just falling away a bit.
Well, they're not going to get any help from Renault from now until the end of the season, really, are they?
Renault said, yeah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I think they're going to give them the minimum and then say, yeah, enjoy Honda. Okay, Kimi Räikkönen. Again, I'm going to go with Kimi to win.
Kimi for the win, eh?
Yeah, Kimi for the win.
No,
okay.
Sounds good.
And third block.
Ooh, the infamous third column. Well, there's no Hungarian Formula One driver, so we can't do our usual thing of just trying to guess where the local boys end up.
No, that's right.
Ooh.
Bearing in mind, last year was... what's his name? Paul di Resta stepped in for Massa last year, didn't he?
Wait, you want to try and guess where Paul di Resta will finish? Because
I'm going first, though.
I got one. Okay, then. Just in light of what I said last time, who will set the fastest lap?
Oh, fastest lap then, yeah.
Fastest lap, and for our Brucey bonus, like a Brucey bonus, what lap do they set it on?
Oh, that's going to be hard.
Yeah, we've got no chance of getting that one, but I figure it could be an interesting. The other problem is I can't really find stats easily over like previous fastest laps and stuff like that.
We'll just have to watch it. We'll have to watch the race this time.
We'll have to watch the race. God. People will know, but we actually don't actually watch the race, so we just like read the Wikipedia.
Well, that's all it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so who do you reckon set the fastest lap?
Who do I reckon will go for the fastest lap?
This is interesting, actually.
It is a bit, isn't it? Strokey chin. I think Kimi.
Oh.
And I think he'll do it. So
look at you, just nicking everything I want to say.
I know. The race I'm going to assume it's the same length as last time, which is 70 laps.
Yeah.
I think he'll do it on lap 56.
56 of 70.
Yeah.
Okay. I will go with... Oh, man. Oh, man. Who do I go with? I'm considering Ricciardo because he's going to possibly have a new engine in the back of his car. But they haven't made...
Like he had this time.
Well, they haven't made the greatest strategy with tyres, really, have they? They've always tried to go long and then wait for people to have their stops and then jump them in there.
He does like his glory ones, though, doesn't he, Danny?
Yeah. But Verstappen...
Mate, so does Max. Yeah, I was going to say Max does as well. But then again, we saw Alonso last time, innit? But then he's just not motivated at the minute, is he?
No, he's not. No, I don't think it will be him. Hamilton, possible. It could be Kimi, but you've already got him.
See, I don't think you're going to get Vettel or Hamilton doing it because I don't think they're going to want to put that much strain on the engine.
I'm going for Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
I'd like to say Hülkenberg, but no, I'm going to go for Verstappen.
All right. Verstappen, what lap? I reckon he'll do it towards the end if he's going to do it. It'll be like...
I don't know. Are we doing nearest a pin on this?
No, you got to nail it.
God damn it.
I know.
And
it's got to be your guy doing it. So, this is like a Brucey bonus point.
26. Lap 26.
Really?
Yeah. Early doors.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, there we go. It's all set in stone. I've written it down in pen. That cannot be deleted ever again. So, there we go. And when is the Hungary Grand Prix? It's
next weekend.
It's next weekend. Oh, man. And then we got a whole month off.
Oh, thank fuck for that. I mean, what a shame.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I do like the Hungarian Grand Prix. It is... I wouldn't say it's one of my favourites, but it's an old school one, but it has a nice place in my heart. I do like it. So... yeah, looking forward to it. What about yourself? What about the track? Do you like it? Yeah,
it doesn't immediately leap out from memory, but I remember there's some classic races there. There was it 97 when Damon Hill almost won in an Arrows?
Yeah, that's
an Arrows
right.
Yamaha of that. Back in the day, we've had some really entertaining races there. Like you said, it's old school, and I like the older circuits. They've got some character about them. So yeah, it should be good fun. I'm looking forward to it.
That 97 one, I was working that day. I missed the race. I had to listen to it on the radio. God, that was... I was working around London and, just had to listen to it on the race. I was gutted listening to that.
I was gutted watching it, especially since it was Villeneuve that passed him. Can I ask a question? Why do people keep asking Villeneuve for his opinion?
I don't.
He's like the Nigel Farage of Formula One.
He's like the new Jackie Stewart.
Yeah.
Because Jackie Stewart's always got an opinion on something. It doesn't really... He's kind of tailed off in the last couple of years. But maybe 4 years ago...
But to be fair,
I
respect Jackie Stewart. Villeneuve only just won his championship in a Williams that was so dominant. And even then, he only just won it.
Yeah.
So, it just annoys me whenever you have Villeneuve popping up and saying stuff. If you don't like it, Villeneuve, at me. Don't actually. Please don't. You're bigger than me. You'll probably beat me up. But still, it's just stop asking him his opinion, people.
Yeah, I don't really care for his opinion. Really don't.
But anyway, no, I'm looking forward to the race. I've got to say, on the whole, I've been enjoying this season. I know we'll probably make a formal decision at the mid-season, but I think we've had more good races than bad. That's my feeling. I
think so as well. I think there was a bit of a lull, but yeah, we'll get into that at a later date, I think.
Yes.
Good. Okay, cool. Right, as well. I look forward to listening to you and talking to you in a week's time. If you guys have any opinions or anything like that on us or on anything else that's going on in the Formula One world, then please email it to us at boxboxbox@grandprixpodcast.com. You can also get us on the Twitters.
Yes.
I am Elton McManus. There's also Grand Prix Pod, and you, Andy, are?
Andy 3E.
Good man.
Not. There's not actually 3 E's after the Andy. It's Andy, then the number 3, and then the letter E.
Otherwise, it'd just be Andy.
Andy! Which might work. That might be a fun one to do later on. But for the minute, it's Andy, then the number 3, and then the letter E.
Okay, cool.
Just to be clear.
Where else can these awesome listeners find you on the internet? Because, they download podcasts and everything, and they made it this far. So where can they find you?
Well, most of my stuff's on RogueTwoMedia with your good self. I haven't actually done any podcasts outside of the old Grand Prix podcast in like a month because I've been away spending time with my wife in them their US of A's.
Yo.
So I have been slack, but I will try and do some great derelict content sometime soon. But yeah, that's about the size of it, I think. Not a huge amount to contribute, I'm afraid. I've been very lax.
No, that's fine. I too have been lax a little bit. Certain things that I was talking to you about earlier on have been getting in the way. So you can catch me on the Black Dog Podcast, which is at blackdogpodcast.com. It's a film review show. I'm sure you guys like films. Everyone who likes Formula 1 likes films. So pop along there and listen to four idiots talk about films. You're more than welcome. And
very, very quickly, just because I need closure, who won the McManus household World Cup sweepstakes?
Oh, I did.
Way! Well done, sir.
I did. I had France.
Nicely done, sir.
And
well
I
played.
also had France in the work sweepstakes as well.
So has your finger and thumb been stuck to your forehead in an L shape for the past 2 weeks?
Oh, definitely, yeah. It turned out to be me and the missus in the final, and there was lots of loser shoutings and, you guys are rubbish type thing. I just don't let them... leave them alone with that. I just don't let them win. I won, so up theirs.
And anyone wondering what the hell we're talking about needs to go and listen to the Shonky Lab. Was it the last Shonky Lab?
Yeah, the last two Shonky Labs actually.
The last two Shonky Labs about the World Cup. So go give them a listen if you want to know what the hell we're talking about.
Definitely.
But, yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, right. Well, thank you very much for everyone who's listened. Pop along to iTunes, give us a review over there. That will be most welcome. And until next time out, thank you very much and goodbye.
Ta-ra!
That move to 6 might be coming on the Renault. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that, especially if Ultimate has got a problem because 2.8 has become 1.8.